Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make simple crochet rainbows. So as you can see, this is a single layer thin rainbows made using 7 different colors of yarn. So we will start with the first row of the rainbow, which is this purple color. As you can see, we will start with this row. Okay, so this row is made up of base chain stitch followed by a row of single crochets. All right, and I'll be using hook size 2.5 mm. And before I begin, so I'm going to leave a fairly long strand of yarn here, and this is just to make it easier to stitch it back at the end of the process. All right, so start with a simple knot. Okay, and then we will do 14 chain stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14 chain stitches. Next, you'll be making one single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. So this is the first stitch from the hook, and this is the second stitch. So you insert your hook into the second stitch, alright, just a single yarn, and you pull over, yarn over, sorry, and that's your first single crochet. And then you will repeat and make 2 more single crochets in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so this is the second single crochet and the third single crochet. So you should have 3 single crochets, and in the next 3 stitches you will be making 3 increases. So increases are basically 2 single crochets in a single stitch, right? So you'll be making 2 single crochet in this 4th stitch, 2 single crochets on the 5th stitch, and 2 single crochets on the 6th stitch. Okay, so we start with the first increase. So 1 single crochet, and you insert your hook back in the same stitch, make the second single crochet. So this makes up 1 increase. All right, and then you will do the second increase. Just 1 single crochet in the same hole, 2 single crochet, and the third increase in the next stitch. So 1 and 2 single crochets. All right, and the next stitch is going to be a single crochet in the next stitch. That's a single crochet. Now this is the midpoint of our rainbow, and from here on what we're going to do is basically repeat these stitches here, but in the reverse order. All right, so earlier we did 3 increases here right before the single crochet here. So now we're going to repeat the 3 sets of increases. Okay, so first increase, 1 stitch, 2 stitch, that's first increase. The second increase in the next stitch, so 1 and 2, and the third increase in the next stitch. All right, and so you will see here you should have 3 remaining stitches to complete the first row, and in these 3 remaining stitches you will be doing 1 single crochet each, just like how you did 3 single crochets in the beginning here. Okay, so single crochet 1, single crochet 2, and single crochet 3. Let's see here. All right, So that is how you make the first row of your rainbow. Now here you will be fastening this yarn because you won't be using this color anymore. So here's how you can do it. Remove. Now before you cut, just remember, leave a fairly long piece of yarn, about 3 to 4 inches, 5 inches. Alright, and cut that. Okay, pull this out, and this one you fasten it this way. Okay, now that's your first row. For the second row of the rainbow, I'm using blue. Right, as you can see, I'm using blue color. And for this row, this is a fairly easy row because you're going to do single crochets in each stitch here. Alright, so you don't have to count the increases and single crochets separately. And it's also important to note that you will be starting your row, second row, here exactly where you started your first row, the purple row. Alright, and every subsequent color in the rainbow will be starting on the same side, which is on this side, and they will end on this side. Alright, and at the end of it you will see all the excess yarn will be over this side. Alright, and why I do that, it's because it will maintain the same size for all the colors, and you will see it later. Alright, so again for the second row I'll be joining the yarn. Alright, so you will be joining here, and if you find it difficult to identify which is the first stitch in this row, just remember the first row should have 19 stitches, and you can count it backwards to identify the first stitch here. Alright, so this is the 19th stitch, 19, so I'll count from number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So this is my 19th stitch. Okay, so I'll place my yarn, blue yarn at the back like that. Insert the hook into the first 2 loops, into the top loops, 2 loops of the stitch like this, as you can see. Then I'll yarn over, alright, and a chain. So that's locking the blue yarn into the rainbow. And then for this row, like I said earlier, it's very easy. You will be working 1 single crochet in each of these stitches, so you will be making 19 single crochets all together. And the first single crochet will be in the same stitch as the first one that you joined the blue yarn here. Okay, so I'll insert my hook back in the same stitch and make my first single crochet, and then 18 more. So that's 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Alright, there you go, 19 stitches. And again, pull the yarn and fasten it. This out, 6, 8, and that's your second row of the rainbow. So the third row of the rainbow is going to be a cyan or turquoise color, and similar to the blue row, you will be joining it to the rainbow on this side of the rainbow. Alright, so again you place the yarn here, and you will have to join it in the first stitch. So the first stitch is here. Again, the second row is made up of 19 stitches, so if you're having trouble locating which is your first stitch, you can always count it backwards. Alright, so let me just do it with you. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So this is my 19th stitch, and that's where I should be joining my yarn. Right? So you insert your hook into both loops like that. Make sure you leave a fairly long piece of yarn here, right? And you pull it in. So let's do it again. Right, pull. Secure it with a chain. Okay. Now for this row, it will be a combination of single stitches and increases. Sorry, single crochet stitches and increases. So for the first stitch, it will be a single crochet in the same stitch that you made the chain earlier. Right, so insert. That's your first single crochet, and 2 more single crochets in the next 2 stitches. Second single crochet and the third single crochet. All right, next will be an increase in the next stitch and a single crochet, and you will be repeating this set 3 times. So that means increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, and single crochet. All right, so we start with our first increase. That's 1 stitch, 2 single crochets in a single stitch. That's an increase, 1, and a single crochet in the next stitch, an increase in the next one, 1, 2, and a single crochet in the next stitch, and an increase in the next stitch, and a single crochet in the next stitch. So that completes 3 sets of increase and single crochets. Alright, so we are coming to the midpoint. So the midpoint is where I will place 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then we will basically be repeating this whole pattern over this side, but in the reverse order. So we'll start with 1 single crochet and 1 increase. So this is the first set, and I'll repeat the 1 single crochet and 1 increase in 2 more sets. Right, so 1 increase, 1 single crochet and 1 increase. One single crochet and 1 increase. And the last 3 stitches will be the single crochet stitch in each of these chains, each of these stitches. One single crochet, 2, and 3. So that's your third. All right. And you're going to fasten that in the same way like you did the earlier 2 rows. Make sure you leave fairly long yarn. Okay. and that's your third row. So you should be having a total of 25 stitches in this row. And why it's important? Because then you will have to make sure your rainbow is balanced. Alright, so just to count backwards, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 and 25. So this will be my starting stitch for the next row. Let me just mark it here. Okay, so that's going to be the next row. So the fourth row is going to be fairly easy. I'm using green yarn, and similar to the blue row, you are going to work one single crochet in each of these 25 stitches here. Alright, so start here. So this is where we have marked the first stitch earlier. Place my yarn underneath like this and pull the yarn over and one chain. Alright, that's just to hold the color in place, and then I'll start counting the 25 stitches from this very same stitch that I joined the yarn. Alright, so insert in the same stitch. That's single crochet, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and the last one, 25. Okay, now you fasten that. There you have 4 rows of your rainbow ready. The fifth color of our rainbow is going to be yellow. Alright, so similar to the other colors, we will be joining it here on this side of the rainbow on the first stitch. And if you're not sure which is your first stitch here, alright, you can always count it backwards. And remember, earlier we made 25 single crochets in this row, so you should have 25 stitches, and you should start your yellow stitch on the first chain of the 25. Alright, so just to be sure, let me just count backwards. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 and 25. So this is my starting stitch. This is where I will be joining the yellow line, the yellow yarn. Alright, so I insert my hook and then position the yellow yarn underneath. Again, I'm leaving a fairly long piece of yarn here. Okay, so yarn, put your hook underneath and pull it in, and one chain. Okay, that should hold the yarn in place. And for this row, you're going to start with 2 single crochets, and as usual the first single crochet is going to be in the exact same stitch that you joined the yellow yarn earlier. So you insert your hook here, the same stitch, and make 1 single crochet. So that's your first single crochet, and then you make another one. So 2 single crochets to start the yellow row, and from here on you will be making a set, 3 sets of 2 single crochets and 1 increase. So that means in the next 6 stitches on this green row, you will be making 3 sets of 2 single crochets. That means 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and then 1 increase, and then another 2 single crochets, which is 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 increase, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and 1 increase. All right. So we'll start with the first 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. So you have 4 single crochets there. And the next is 1 increase. That's first stitch in the increase and the second stitch in the increase. Okay, and then 2 single crochets in the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and an increase in the next stitch, stitch and second stitch, and then 2 more single crochets in the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and an increase in the next one, 1, 2, in the same stitch. Okay, you can see 2 single crochets in the same stitch here. All right, then in the next 3 stitches you'll be making single crochets, and these single crochets mark the center of the midpoint of the rainbow. This is exact midpoint, and there's one here, single crochet here, and 1 here, so 3. So first single crochet, second single crochet, this is the midpoint, and third single crochet. Alright, so from here on you will be repeating the same order of increases and single stitches, but in the reverse order. Alright, so you're going to start with 1 increase and 2 single crochets, 1 increase, 2 single crochets, 1 increase, and 2 single crochets, and you will end it with 2 single crochets. Alright, so we'll start with 1 increase. 1 stitch, second stitch in the same stitch, 1 increase, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and another increase, same stitch, 2 single crochets, one increase. This is the third increase in this set, and 2 single crochets, and you will end the row with 2 single crochets, just like how you started with 2 single crochets here. 1 and 2. Okay, and that's your third, that's your 5th color, 5th row of your rainbow. Okay, fasten the yarn. So the next color in the rainbow is going to be orange, and this is the easy row because there will not be any increases in this row, similar to the blue and the green row. Alright, so we start by placing the yarn at the back. And again, you need to make sure you start on this side of the rainbow and on the first stitch. Now if you're not sure which is your first stitch, you can always do a count from backwards. For the yellow row earlier, you should have made 31 stitches altogether. And if you're not sure, count backwards from here, starting with number 1 all the way, and on the 31st stitch here, you will be joining your orange yarn. So I will not show you that because I've done that earlier. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and join the orange yarn. So this is my first stitch of the yellow row. Okay, so I insert my hook this way, the yarn, pull the yarn over. Sorry, let me do it again. Insert the hook, pull the yarn and chain to hold it in place. Okay, and then I'll be making 31 single crochets until the end here. Okay, and my first single crochet is going to start in the exact same stitch that I joined the orange yarn. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook back in the same stitch and make my first single crochet. So that's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and the last one, 31. Alright, and then I'm going to fasten this. And there you have 6 colors of your rainbow. So the last color of the rainbow is going to be red. Alright, so for red there will be the stitches that I'm going to use will be a combination of single stitches as well as increases, and they're all in single crochets as well. Alright, so same way as the previous rows, you need to join the yarn on this side of the rainbow. Alright, and you need to identify the first stitch from the previous row. And if you're not sure which is your first stitch, you can always count backwards. So in the orange row there should have been 31 stitches, so you can count 31 stitches from the back, starting from 1 all the way to 31, and you will be joining your red yarn on the 31st into the 31st stitch. Okay, so to do that, you simply insert your hook into these 2 loops in the orange row, and you place your red yarn at the back here, put your yarn underneath and pull it into this orange, and 1 chain. So this is to hold the red yarn in place. And for this row, you will start by making 2 single crochets, and the first single crochet will be in this exact same stitch where you join the red yarn. So insert in the same stitch, 1 single crochet, and second one in the second stitch, 2 single crochets. The next stitches are going to be 3 sets of 3 single crochets and increase, which means we'll be making 3 single crochets, 1 2 3, 1 increase, 3 single crochets and 1 increase, 3 single crochets and 1 increase. So there are 3 sets of 3 single crochets and 1 increase. So we'll start with 3 single crochets in the first set. So that's 1 2 and 3, followed by an increase. 1, insert the loop in the same stitch to make an increase. That's 2. Okay, so that's the first set, and you'll repeat another 2 sets. So 3 single crochets, and an increase. Alright, so that's the second set, and the third set. 3 single crochets, and an increase. Alright, so the next stitches are going to be 3 single crochets, and this is basically the center point of your rainbow. Alright, so we will be making 3 single crochets. That's 1 and 2 and 3. Alright, and then the next, for the remainder of the rainbow, you're going to use the same set of stitches here, but in the reverse order. So we'll start with 1 increase and 3 single crochets, and repeat that 2 more times. Alright, so first increase, 1 increase, 3 single crochets, okay, second set, first increase, second increase here, and 3 single crochets, 1 2 and 3, and the third increase, and 3 single crochets. So that's 3 single crochets, and to end, similar to the beginning here where you make 2 single crochets, you will be making 2 single crochets to end the red row. So that's 1, and that's 2. And there you go. So you need to loop this. And that completes all the stitches on the rainbow. So once you have all the stitches done, next step is to tidy up all this excess yarn. Alright, so you'll be stitching them into the rainbow so that you can't see them and you can cut off the excess. Alright, so I'll start with the purple, and you will need a needle with a big eye here. Okay, and you will stitch it into the same color row so you can't see it. Stitch it a bit more. Alright, and let's snip off the excess. And you're going to go ahead and do that for all this excess yarn. And you trim off the excess. The reason why I asked you to leave a fairly long piece of yarn here is to make it easier for you to stitch this yarn into the rainbow and trim it off later. Alright, so here is the completed rainbow. If your rainbow is curling up and you want it to be nice and flat, here's a small little tip. Take a bowl of water, dip your crochet rainbow inside, okay, let it soak well, completely soaked, okay, lift it, press off all the excess water, dab with a piece of kitchen towel, and then place it lying flat on a piece of on a flat surface. All right, and once it dry, you will get a nice and flat rainbow, crochet rainbow like this one. And that's how you make the crochet rainbow. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and to subscribe my channel for more interesting tutorials. Thank you.